I'm wondering about contamination in seaweed and kelp.
So there is, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, the ocean is very polluted. So they do absorb some of those toxins I was talking about. But the key here is that bioaccumulation that I was talking about. So basically in the ocean, so the little fish eat the seaweed, and then a bigger fish eats the little fish, and then a bigger fish eats that fish. And each time, each stage, there's bioaccumulation happening, meaning that whatever toxins were in that seaweed go into the next fish, and then that combination of toxins goes into the next fish, and it just gets worse and worse. So the larger the fish, the more fish they ate, the more bioaccumulation happens in their bodies and in the flesh. So you're going to find higher concentrations of those toxins, the PCBs, the mercury, all those things I mentioned in the larger fish flesh. There's a much less concentration, much lower numbers in the sea plants.
Got it. Thank you very much for that, Hope. What works and what doesn't work in communicating with people who eat differently than you, such as somebody who's vegan trying to speak with a person who's eating animal products? What do you recommend for them?
Well, I've had 30 years. I've been vegan myself for 32 years, and I've had 30 years to go through numerous different iterations and options of how to do this. So, the conclusions that I've come to, and a lot of the animal protection movement has come to, and the vegan movement has come to, is that, of course, we want to come at any time we're encountering people with empathy, with understanding, with a nonviolent communication type of way of approaching it. So, well, I won't say never, because there's a time and place for agitation. There's a time and place for anger that can be at a protest or some other situation. But if we're talking about one-on-one interactions, either face-to-face or online, especially online, really being empathetic and loving as much as possible, listening, understanding where this person's coming from, understanding what their concerns are. And that can really help in what direction to go in, because there's so many different directions that we could go in. I mean, it's possible this interaction, you're only going to have a few minutes to present some kind of information, right? So you want to go in the right direction. So ask questions. Why are you concerned? What are your thoughts? And if they bring up the environment and global warming, yeah, I've thought about it because of climate change. I heard something about. Great, let's go that direction. Let's talk about the environmental impact of animal agriculture. Let's say they have a dog with them. Their companion animal is with them. That can be a great way, and be like, hey, just like you love your dog, I love pigs because they're so close to dogs, something like that, right? So personalizing it to that person is a great way to do it. Always coming at it from a personal place. Like, I do this because of this, not you should do this. No, I do this because it's important to me. And then they don't feel like have to be so defensive, right? So these are all little wonderful tricks and things that we can do. And I'll say too, online, please, everyone, if you don't hear anything else today, well, first thing you hear, fish are awesome and feel pain and feel emotion. That's the first thing. Second thing to hear today from me is that we need to be more kind online as vegans. We really do. I see all the time people, unfortunately, online communication in the comments and things like that, the niceties of society, the things that we hold in our interactions face to face just get blown away. The things that keep us like civil with people and that keep us kind to people get just blown away with the anonymity of the internet. And I see people saying the most horrible things to each other and being attacking and personally attacking. And, you know, please don't do this. Let's not do this. I remember I was listening to a woman. She was a environmental climate change, you know, social media person, social media influencer. And the interviewer asked her, so, oh, do you get a lot of, you know, climate deniers? You have to deal with a lot of climate deniers in your comments. And she said, well, yeah, there's that. But, you know, the vegans are just terrible. They're always, you know, mean to me for not talking about animal agriculture enough. Don't be that person. Let's not, you know, like, be kind and generous and forgiving and try to be understanding, even online. We lose that somehow online. So very important to read, reread. Would you say this in person to this person? You know, think about that. And you know, and realize that people don't make change when you're being mean to them. People don't make change when you're being attacking, you know, no. They make change when they can hear you. And the only way they're going to hear you is if you're coming at it from a kind, genuine, nonviolent place. So I have a whole presentation on this because I'm so just kind of on nonviolent and really best practices for etiquette, online etiquette. So just keep that nonviolence going, folks.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's great advice, Hope. And let's move now to Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Hope. Thank you for your sensitivity and your kindness. I understood that there are ways that people are now growing algae without, not in polluted waters and not near Fukushima and all of this. I wondered if the sheets that I've seen of, I think it's nori in Costco, whether that's part of it, whether this is real. Are sheets of seaweed that we can buy available that are not from polluted waters and without interfering with nature's ocean bottoms?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about this. I do know, though, there are some noris that are sold at the health food stores, and I've gone to their websites to just kind of look and see about this. You know, where is it being grown? And they do. There's ones that do claim, and you know, let's hope they're being upfront and honest. Hopefully they are, but there's ones that claim that they are grown in fresh water, and fresh water, you know, obviously it means not Fukushima, and not, you know, that there's freshwater algae and seaweed being grown, so it would have less pollutants, is kind of the point of the freshwater. So, you know, and I think that they'll have also some information about that on their websites, you know, where it's grown, that they're trying to do it as toxin free as possible, things like that. So, you know, I would go to the websites, research those brands, see what others are saying about them, perhaps, and you know, just look into it, because you know, we want to believe what they say, but you know, you never know. It's true.
Thanks very much for that, Hope. And let's go now to Kathy. Welcome, Kathy.
Hi. Whoops, I think I opened an app on my phone while I'm trying to talk to you guys. So I think I heard you just now say that you have a whole blog on how to respond to different questions, or how to rebut or have rebuttals, or have, you know, something to say when someone says something. So here's one, and I'd like to know what you would say if someone says, but there's a story in the Bible where Jesus fed many people, and there wasn't enough food to feed, and the fish multiplied.
Yeah.
And so Jesus fed them a fish. What would you say?
Well, okay. First of all, let me just clarify. I don't have a blog about that. What I was talking about is that I have a presentation that I've given, and there are videos of it out there. You might be able to find one. And I think I call it something like, you know, online etiquette, or animal activists animal advocacies, online etiquette, stuff like that. So that's what I was talking about. I give a presentation around. I gave one recently to, it was last year for the San Francisco Veg Fest. So, and I know they have it online. So if you want to try to dig around for that. But as far as Jesus and the fishes, so I would assess, first of all, I would assess how Christian they are, really. Because, you know, if they're not really Christian and they're just bringing this up, who cares? Try to move it to something else. You know, I wouldn't really talk about it much if they're not really Christian. But someone that brings this up, it's likely that they are Christian. And I was actually raised Southern Baptist, born again Christian. My family is very, very, very Christian, very religious. So I, you know, can relate. And my grandmother would have certainly made this argument had we had these conversations. And I think what I would say is a couple of things. I would say first that there are Christian vegetarian associations and also the Seventh-day Adventists. There's whole Christian denominations that are vegetarian. And they have several things that they say about this, you know, and I would say, this isn't me saying this. These are Christian organizations that say this, that the word for fish, if you go back in the Hebrew, actually can also be a word for a tuber. And they believe that it's possible that it was a tuber that was being referred to. But as translations happened, it ended up being a fish in the end, possibly because of the connection to the disciples being fishermen. So, you know, but the disciples left their fishing. They stopped fishing to follow Jesus. So they stopped killing fish to follow Jesus. So, you know, there's a few things like that. Another thing that I would say is, you know, but beside putting that aside, let's look at now at modern times. What if Jesus was here now? Would he approve of the massive fishing that we're doing to the oceans? Would he approve of the decimation that we are doing from the fishing of the oceans, the environmental impact, just the mass slaughter? I think that he wouldn't approve of that. I think he would make different choices today. So, you know, that's one way to approach it, something like that.